So here we have been doing research in this field for several years here. And then, so overview of the previous research here. Yeah, I would like to mention some of them here. For example, especially about the testing formats, culture testing formats. Valente in 1977. Well, Valente here, well, he proposed objective formats such as listing, matching, and multiple choices, MCQ, multiple choice questions. Well, he also puts forward a few types of IC questions and suggests practical ways of scoring students' work. And here, the next one is about Seeley here in 1984. Yeah, he talked about the objective test, and then that is also the traditional one, testing format, and also the multiple choice questions. Also, well, he put forward a kind of tactile test, or tactile test. For example, if you are trying to know the students whether they have learned something about a Mexican culture, for example, you just ask them to go to dinner, or to ask them to use the knife, to use the spoon, and then how they behave in that, for example, over the dinner. So this is a kind of that is called the tactile test. And then next one is Vasily here put forward this kind of idea in 1984. And then in 1994, Moore, in fact, Moore, she cautions against multiple choice and the true false culture tests, because, well, she has a concern that tests like these sometimes maybe it will just ask the students to repeat and memorize some isolated facts, and then that will reduce like culture learning to fragmented information that will lead to stereotypes or overgeneralization. So it's one of her concerns. But here, I think I will give you my opinion here later. Well, and the next one here about is Ranvik. Okay, Ranvik in 1979 here. Well, sorry, I just forgot to put some of the years here. Okay, advocated the importance of the formats of methods for used for evaluating culture being compatible with the values, preferences, and customary modes of responses of the students. And they recommend that self-report, role-play, simulation, or production, and observation can be included for those tested formats. Then we have the Page in 2000. Well, that is they comment on the Hammer and Bennett. Yeah, I think it's a very famous scholars. They developed the IDI, that is called Intercultural Development Inventory, and then we also use this kind of instrument to assess my students' intercultural competence, and then to make a comparative study between that IDI, that instrument, with our test paper we have designed, and then it shows a high correlation, and also that means our test we have designed are reliable and valid. So I think there are still a lot of scholars, but here, due to the time constraint, I'm not going to cover all of them. And the success of the integration of the intercultural testing into, especially in China, we have just now I talked about it, the English major program, about TEM 4 and TEM 8, and then we had the successful case here, especially we have the old test syllabus in 1997, and then in 2004, and then we had the new test syllabus, and then we changed from the old test to the new test syllabus, and then we have got a new part that is called the general knowledge. The general knowledge part, well, it's mainly about the culture stuff, or the history, the geography of English-speaking countries. So, and then it has been successful. But I'm sure for next step, because this is only the basic step, here we are doing the cultural knowledge part, and then in the future we are going to deal with, change the test syllabus. I think how to assess the communicative competence will be a top issue, will be the priority for a test. The next, I would like to talk some the variables. I'm going to cover them one by one here. For example, here the intercultural business communicative competence. We have the first part is about intercultural knowledge, and then second part, well, business knowledge, and the third part is communicative competence in intercultural business settings. Then we have the model here. Yeah, this is the kind of model I made by myself here. Is well, normally I think intercultural business knowledge is the I don't know whether you can see it here or not. It's from low to high. This is from low to high. That is the intercultural business knowledge, or intercultural knowledge, or business knowledge. And then we have the intercultural. The second step is the intercultural awareness in business settings. That the speakers or the negotiators, well, they are aware of the cultural differences. Okay, they know okay, there exists the cultural differences due to the cultural backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, and then we can feel the cultural differences. And then the last part is the intercultural action in business setting. That means how they apply their awareness into their real practice. So, okay, I'm going to deal with them one by one here. About formats here. Yeah, well, that is my focus for my presentation tonight. And for example, for intercultural knowledge, for objective testing here, in fact, in my point of view, just now I talked about Moore just well, she cautions against the use of the objective test. But in my opinion, for intercultural knowledge, I think we can still use the objective testing here, such as we can use the MCQ, multiple choice questions, true or false statements to know whether this culture or this kind of behavior is right or wrong, or matching. For multiple choice questions, I think it's a very good way. It's even though we know it's very traditional, but for knowledge part, we can still use this kind of method. You know, for just it's a little bit a discrete point task, but here we can still know some of the knowledge, basic knowledge about that part, about the targeted culture. And in this part, I think a lot of scholars have been doing research in this field, but normally they focus on the foreign culture. For example, in China, they just include the foreign culture in their tests. But in my point of view, Chinese culture should be also included. For example, here now we have different cultures. Here we have a lot of participants from the world, and then sometimes if you are developing your test, maybe you can also include your local culture, because the students are able to. For example, Chinese students, they are able to deal with not only the foreign culture, they know more about foreign culture. At the same time, they should be familiar with the Chinese culture as well. But here, well, is one of the weaknesses in China now. Sometimes we focus too much on the foreign culture. And then here, that is about intercultural knowledge. And the second part is about business knowledge. Business knowledge, we also use the objective testing, for example, or MCQ to a false statement, or matching. For matching here, I would like to say more here. For matching, for example, if you have A, B, you have two columns, column A and column B. Column A will consist of 3 items, 3 terms, and the column B, you maybe sometimes we need 4 or 5 to increase the difficulty of the task. You know, for matching, because it's much easier. Yeah, so normally we include 4 or 5 items, so that it will be a little bit difficult to increase the difficulty level. So here, well, it depends on the stakeholders. So this here, we have one example here. It's about business knowledge here. Well, for example, which following does not belong to the division of the 3 sectors of industry. It's very easy here, but it belongs to business knowledge. We can still use this kind of method. For example, we have primary industry, secondary, third, and tertiary.